Okay, let's jump right in. We're about to talk about one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, one of the weirdest sounding productivity methods out there. But trust me, it's a simple idea that could totally change how you look at your day. Welcome to our explainer on Eat That Frog.
So it all kicks off with this brilliant and, kind of horrifying quote from Mark Twain. Now, before you get worried, no actual frogs are going to be harmed. But that image, it's super powerful for a reason because it gets right to the heart of how we tackle our biggest challenges.
So what's the deal? What's the connection here? Well, this whole idea is really just a powerful metaphor for one of the biggest enemies of getting things done, something we all face, procrastination. You know that feeling, right? You've got something huge to do, but suddenly you find a million tiny things to do instead.
Yeah, let's break down this cycle because it's so common. You sit down at your desk, you're all ready to work, and what's the very first thing you do? Check emails, right? Or you organize your desktop or handle a few easy little things. It feels like you're being productive, but what you're actually doing is burning up your best, most focused energy on the stuff that matters the least. Just look at these two different realities. On the left, that's the typical morning. You're busy, for sure, but that one big task is just hanging over your head like a dark cloud, stressing you out and draining your energy all day long. But the frog first morning on the right, it flips that completely. You tackle the hardest thing first, and boom, it's not just done. You get this huge wave of momentum and confidence that makes the rest of your day feel like a breeze. It's the difference between just reacting to your day and actually owning it.
Okay, so let's get specific here. This whole concept was really made famous by the productivity guru Brian Tracy, and he asks a really simple question that is the absolute core of this whole strategy. What is your frog? So your frog, that's your biggest, most important task. It's the one thing on your list that will have the biggest impact on your goals, but it's also the one you are most likely to avoid. You know exactly the one I'm talking about. We all have one. It's that huge report, that difficult conversation you need to have, or that project you just don't know how to start. That is your frog. All right, so we've identified the frog. Now for the fun part. Let's talk about the reward for eating it. Because the payoff isn't just about getting one thing checked off your list, it's about the incredible psychological boost that it gives you for the rest of the entire day. And here it is, the heart of the reward. When you finish that big task, your brain releases a rush of endorphins. Yep, the same chemicals that make you feel happy and accomplished. That feeling of satisfaction isn't just a nice little bonus, it's the fuel that powers you through everything else. You feel more confident, you're less stressed, and that nagging anxiety, gone.
Now, a really good question usually comes up right about now. What happens on those days when you feel like you have an entire pond full of frogs? You know, when you're facing multiple big, important, ugly tasks? Well, don't worry, there's a rule for that too.
And the rule is actually super simple to remember. If you have to eat two frogs, eat the ugliest one first. In other words, look at your most important tasks and figure out which one is the biggest, the hardest, the most intimidating, but also the one that's going to make the most positive difference. That's where you start. Now that we've got the strategy down, let's just quickly lock in some of the key ideas. Understanding the language here really helps turn Eat That Frog from just a neat trick into a powerful way of thinking about your work. Think of these words as the building blocks. See, to procrastinate is the problem we're solving. But when you act first, you create satisfaction, and that gives you momentum. And you know what those two things are? They're the perfect antidote to the anxiety that procrastination causes. It's a really simple but powerful equation.
And that really brings us to the end of this explainer, but hopefully to the beginning of a whole new approach for you. The theory is simple, but it's the action that really counts. So I'll just leave you with this one really important question to think about right now. Your day starts now. What frog will you eat first?